Good morning, day, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Eli Flint.
And I'm your co-host, Connor McCallion.
And you're now listening to ReelShot. ReelShot is a McCallion Flint production, in association with Respite and brought to you by CP Studios. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the first episode of ReelShot. The first of maybe many. This is a film-based podcast. Yeah, so let's give a little bit of background because nobody knows who we are. My name, like I said in the fancy intro, is Eli Flint. I am 17 and currently completing my senior year of high school. Only have like a month or two left as of now. I'm an amateur filmmaker on my way to film school. I do my best and I write and direct my own movies, or at least try to. It's a very hard process. To give you a time frame right now, it is currently the 2020, is it 3 or 4? This is for the year 2023. The Oscars are going on right now. The 2023 Oscars are currently going on as we are recording this podcast. Connor has them up right now and he's updating me during tonight's show. So that is kind of interesting, and that's kind of cool that our pilot episode is on the night of the Oscars. Mm-hmm. But yeah, enough about me. I think I've talked enough. Connor, you have the go ahead. Tell people don't know who you are. Let's hear about you.
So my name is Connor McCallion. I'm 17. I'm a senior in high school in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm an amateur filmmaker. I try to write and direct some stuff with my friends, but they're really not that good. And next year, I am thinking about going to DePaul in Chicago for film school.
All right, and oh yeah, very very cool, Connor. I sound like such a dick. Very. No, I'm going to film school at CCS Detroit. Connor and I have known each other for a good amount of time, about less than in a year. So,
Yeah,
but we have written and directed a short together, and we both share an practically equal amount of love for films and filmmaking and the art of filmmaking. Today we are doing we did a film trade, so we have 2 movies we recommended to each other that the other hasn't seen, and we watched those, and we're going to discuss them based on our first impressions, because the movie he gave me, I've only seen once, and likewise with him. So that's how we're starting right now. If this is a continuing thing, this podcast, then I would like to take it into a route of focusing on the amateur side of filmmaking. I'm obviously an amateur. I'm a beginner at this. I've been into filmmaking for a few years, but I think only in the past 2 years alone have I only begun to hone in on my craft of filmmaking. I mean, I don't know what Connor's situation is 100%, but I feel like he could probably agree that it's about the same there.
Yeah.
So I would like to maybe have this show as a spotlight for filmmakers that are are starting out, maybe watching some short films, maybe getting some other filmmakers like us on the show, talk about their process and what film means to them. Right now, we don't have any of that. This is a new thing for me and a new thing for Connor. So I get off track a lot. I have already got off track a bunch of times already. So just hang in there. This is my first podcast that I am hosting. I think it's Connor. Connor, have you done a podcast before?
I've done like 3 episodes or 2 episodes with my friends.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
We got a pro on here, so maybe he'll keep things in line when I get out of line, because I'm someone who just rambles on, or I'll either ramble on for too long or I'll lose my train of thought for too long. Hopefully I can edit that out for the listeners at home. So Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So, as I said, this is the first segment, which I'll just call Film Trade. Film Trade is what it sounds like. Connor and I picked two films of our choice that the other hasn't seen, and we instructed each other to watch those films. And now we're going to get each other's 2 cents on each film. So you're probably wondering what films. Connor had me watch 12 Angry Men, directed by Sidney Lumet. Lumet?
I don't know.
I'm sorry if I messed that up. That is probably my apologies. Sidney's movie. He made it. Director of Serpico, if you've seen that movie. And it's from the year 1957. I want to give everyone a vague idea of the story. I don't want to spoil it. 12 jurors, all guys, pretty much argue in one room. They're assigned to a trial where a young 18-year-old boy is on trial, or he's on trial for the murder of his father. And they decide whether he goes to the electric chair or not. And you don't know what their decision is because you have to go watch the movie to find out. But what's interesting to me about this film is how it starts off super vague at first. You know nothing about this trial. You have no bias. You have no idea of what happened. You learn everything through the dialogue between the jurors. And the main juror is Henry Fonda. I'll give some info about it. Pretty much they do a vote, guilty or not guilty. They all vote guilty except Henry Fonda. And Henry Fonda kind of has to just convince the other jurors who really think this kid is guilty, at first at least, that he's not guilty. And that's the whole baseline for the movie. It's very well done. It's well written. Like I said, I like how vague it is. You learn a lot through the dialogue. And I thought at first, I was like, I can't even distinguish like these guys. They're all like the same, you know? But then as the movie goes forward and goes on, you kind of like it's just every character in the movie is just such a unique. I'm pretty sure each juror kind of represents. I know one of them kind of was like an allegory for racism in the judicial system, and he starts talking about how the boy. Yeah, I'm not trying to give away too much here, but yeah, that's kind of the idea of the movie. It's and it's really well done. It's way before its time, I think. I mean, 1957. I just wouldn't expect something this layered, at least, to be released in that time. And yeah, I'm glad Connor recommended this movie to me. I honestly need this movie as a gateway into older black and white films. Not that I don't have an issue with them. I feel like for a while I was so behind on films that I'm now just getting to the more black and white era. And I think this was a good. I mean, I've seen black and white films before, but my focus hasn't been entirely on them, and I need to watch more of these great classics. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can. Do we have any like cool rating system, Connor? Can you think of anything off the top of your head, or that was probably the worst review. I had to restart the review like 3 times because I couldn't get my words out it was like word vomit every time. But yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Oh, whenever I review things, it's always out of 10. But I can't think of anything cool.
We'll do out of 10 for today. We got to think of something. We'll think of something a little bit more, something cooler than that. But yeah, out of 10, this movie is a very solid 8.7.5. Like I said, the whole movie relies on its dialogue. It's a well done film. and you should go watch it. Anyway, enough of me. Connor.
Before I start, Robert Downey Jr. won for supporting actor in Oppenheimer.
RDJ.
Yep. And I guessed it. I knew that would happen.
He was good in that film. He was
Yeah.
really. It was refreshing because I don't think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He hasn't been in anything since Endgame, right? Has he been in a film?
I think he
since
was in
Endgame?
he was in Doctor Dolittle or something, the remake.
Oh, well, he probably should have gotten
Was it-
nominated for that. I don't have I'm just getting all this news from Connor. I don't have the Oscars up on my screen, so that's cool.
Well, I
knew Oppenheimer was gonna. I'm sorry, I don't sound excited about it, but I knew Oppenheimer was gonna take it home with a lot of the shit.
Yeah.
It was gonna take it home with a lot of the awards tonight. So I'm very glad about it. He's not lead unless he wins Dr. Dolittle.
It was it was between Robert De Niro, Ryan Gosling, and Sterling K. Brown, and that's American Fiction.
Robert De Niro did well in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, but he's old. He needs to let the other people win. He's won 2 Oscars.
Yeah. I think he's all right. I think
Raging Bull and Godfather Part 2. Back in 40 years ago.
Those must be deep cuts. Never heard of either of those.
No. Yeah, they're pretty underground.
For the next part of the film trade, hopefully you listeners aren't too bored. I had Connor watch Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, which is his 3-hour epic. And I could talk all night about it, but I want Connor to talk about it because you guys don't want to hear me talk about it. So go ahead, Connor. You can go ahead, Connor. And then when you're ready, just ready whenever, Connor. Just go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. Magnolia is basically
just go ahead. You're ready whenever, Connor. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead.
So, Magnolia, it's basically about a bunch of different stories that connect somehow, and it's told through these different perspectives of these characters. So there's like a policeman, a pickup artist guy, and then
I'm gonna interrupt you there for a second. Tom Cruise plays an Andrew Tate like figure in the movie, so it's much before its time. He plays I don't know if it's like it's like self-help books, does TV commercials, all that jazz. It's a very misogynistic program to help guys. I'm sorry, I had to. You can continue, Connor. Ready whenever.
Okay, and then there's a dying guy who's on his deathbed, talking to his nurse, Philip Seymour Hoffman, about his life, and that's.
Don't forget the policeman is John C. Reilly.
Yeah, the policeman is John C. Reilly. Julianne Moore is the dying man's wife.
Okay.
So
go ahead whenever you're ready, Connor. Just whenever you want to go. Whenever you're ready. No rush.
So overall, I really liked the movie. The pacing was really good, and what helped with that pacing was the camera movements, and the music worked really well. And then I looked it up, and it was John Bryan who did the sound the score for it. And he also
did
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and
yes, he did.
He also worked on Mac Miller's albums as well.
And he also did Boogie Nights.
Did he do Boogie Nights?
He did Boogie Nights.
Nice.
But anyways, continue.
I saw both the camera movements and the music just helped the movie move forward, and it slowed it down when it needed to be slowed down. And it was also interesting to see like the ebbs and flows of the movie. Like there was like a few scenes where it just like build and build and then just like stop.
It's not afraid to slow down.
Yeah. I thought the characters were really well developed and thought out. Like I really liked how it didn't just show the characters at face value. And it's kind of like 12 Angry Men in that way, because as we went through the movie, we learned more about these characters' motivations and their backstories and like why they are doing the things that they are doing. And also in the movies that I want to work on, like I want to explore characters' motivations, and I want to explore like why characters do what they do and like how they
Yes.
affect each other in their actions. And I just think this movie did it really well.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I have bias. And yeah, like you said about motivations and character motivations, any well written character usually would have a clear motivation, and making that motivation clear can be done in pretty cool ways. And this movie does a really good job at it. Magnolia is on my list of one of my favorite movies. Um, I mean, I'm gonna make this clear really quick, and because I could go on about this for way too long, and I don't want to do that. And I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson, the director of this film, is hands down my favorite film director. He's probably my main influence, at least at the moment, but he has been consistent in that spot. And this movie is probably my third favorite by his, second to There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights, which is a personal favorite. He deserves like his own whole episode about his films and whatnot, but maybe we'll get to that in the future. For now, I just wanted to mention that because I might have some bias towards this film. I've seen it about 4 times. For the listeners at home, this movie has a runtime of 3 hours, and that might seem like a turn off to some. I'm a fan of longer movies, and even ones that like to kind of linger for a bit, and you're like, oh, I feel like I've been here all day, But this movie, I believe, has been like the fastest 3 hours when I sit down and watch this movie. The pacing is very just well done. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson, a lot of his early style is so energetic. But if you've seen the film or you haven't yet, there's this one scene, and it's not a super, super important scene, but William H. Macy, who plays the quiz kid, he was on a quiz show back in like the 50s or 60s. I believe it was the 60s. And he won some money for that, and that his parents like withheld. And now he's just sad, and he really wants braces, and I will not tell you why. You'll have to go watch the film. But there's a scene where he goes into a bar, and it's this long take. He goes and he sits down at this table. He like the camera like swoops around once, and then it lands on like the waitress, and then he takes a rip off a cigarette, and then as he like exhales, the camera whips around again, and it's like in time with the music, and it does this. It's all like in one shot, and it's just one of my favorite shots in film history from what I've seen. So that's an amateur's opinion on that. But yeah, that was such a well done shot, and there's so many others like that. I'm pretty sure there's a 3-minute long take in the same movie. He's really just showing off here, which I've heard people criticize the film for that. It's too in love with itself, but I don't mind. I feel like it's his third film. He's given a lot more budget, and he got a lot of creative freedom. And I mean that's Magnolia. You go watch it. It's a great movie. The ending, you're not gonna be able to guess unless you know it. I'm pretty sure Connor went in somewhat having
You know
kind of
how I
expecting.
expected it?
How did you expect it, Connor?
I'll tell you without giving it away. When I was younger, we had this movie trivia game called
Right.
Seen It. Have you heard of it?
I think that sounds super familiar. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so it would be like a DVD, and then you like put in the DVD in your DVD player, and then it'll play on the TV, and we play it from there.
Right.
There was like some like, what scene is this movie from? And it was that scene or something, and then I just remembered that for some reason, and then that's how I knew.
Oh, so the board game gave it away for you.
Yeah, the board game gave it away for me. Yep.
Well, fuck seen it.
I know.
Fuck you guys, dude. You ruined a great ending for Connor. Because I saw that movie and I didn't have any clue. Go watch Magnolia. That's kind of just the gist of everything right now. Just go watch that movie.
Yeah, go watch both movies.
Man. Go watch both. I'm sorry. Go watch 12 Angry Men. If you want to sit through a nice, short, well-written, masterfully directed courtroom drama with themes that are way before its time, go watch 12 Angry Men. I highly recommend it. I think you'll enjoy it. And if you want to sit through 3 hours of a very well done movie that is all over the place and is wild and crazy, and go watch Magnolia.
My final thoughts.
Just go ahead whenever you're ready, Connor. Just
Yeah, you don't
have to wait for me to key you in or anything. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead. I'd rate it a solid 8.3 out of 10.
Well, yeah. So that's Magnolia and 12 Angry Men for you. Hopefully we didn't keep you too long with this portion. Continuing on, now a word from our sponsor, Siegfried's Condiment Combos. Okay, so Connor, what do you think is your favorite part of eating a hot dog or a burger? I mean, let's just say hot dog.
Obviously, the best part is the shape of the hot dog.
Well, okay. Well, besides the shape, let's not count the shape in this.
I guess the sauce. The horseradish is really good.
Well, okay. Well, that's horseradish, yeah. But what about the classics? Like, can't go wrong options like ketchup, mustard. Your basics.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Right, but kind of blows when you have to spend a ton of dough buying 2 bottles, right? Like a bunch of money just down the drain.
Yeah, I mean, minimum wage can really make it a one or the other situation, especially when it comes to condiments.
Well, Connor, what if I told you could get 2 condiments, all in one, specifically ketchup and mustard? You could get the 2 together in one bottle for half the price of both. Like, what do you think about that?
I would say, pinch me, I must be dreaming, or dead.
Well, that's where Siegfried's comes in with their newest bottle technology.
What is Siegfried's?
Well, it's what
in the world is that?
Bottle.
What is Siegfried's?
If you let me finish, it's.
Well, tell me what Siegfried's is. I gotta know.
Okay, glad you asked, Connor. Siegfried's is an all-in-one, budget and eco-friendly condiment alternative.
Well, Eli.
Or to be more straightforward, it's a.
I don't know what that means. I need you to explain what that means.
Right. If you could just let me
please tell me what this means. I can't wait.
Yeah. So Siegfried's has made the latest and greatest technological advancement in the food industry. They have figured out how to package high quality gourmet ketchup and mustard in the same bottle while keeping both condiments separated, but with the option to mix.
Pinch me, I'm dreaming.
It may seem that way, but you're not catching Z's, Connor. This is real. It's as real as it gets.
The option to mix?
Yeah. Their newest mix and splat bottle technology allows you to mix the mustard and ketchup together and creating a new condiment. See, they have a plug separating the two sauces, and you gotta shove your fingers up in the bottle, and you gotta pull out that plug. And after some shaking, I mean, I've tried it. I like to stir it with my fingers, just my fingers. That's how I like to do it. But if you shake the bottle, it creates a whole new tasty condiment altogether, and it's really good.
Where
really
the fuck do I fucking buy this?
Glad you asked, Connor. You can buy it at your local VG's, and only at VG's. It's a VG's exclusive. VG's Spectacle.
Well,
if you don't mind my.
I might have to bike up there as soon as I'm done with today's show.
Oh, most definitely, Connor. And here, we got a couple reviews in, actually. I'll read them off really quick. Deborah from Phoenix says, I've saved so much time and money. I'm forever grateful to Siegfried's. And Raphael from Winnipeg says, I've been able to put away money for the bigger things. I always bring it to work for a little extra tang on the otherwise plain salami sandwiches my wife packs me. And Raphael also mentioned he is a licensed OBGYN currently working in Winnipeg. So
seems like Siegfried's is really making a difference.
I would 100% agree. I mean, almost forgot one last thing. If you don't want to do the mixing job yourself, they sell pre-mixed options. If that's your forte, you don't want to mix it yourself, though. It comes pre-mixed.
It just keeps getting better and better.
I know. And it will when you go buy Siegfried's condiment combo bottles, exclusively at VG's. And thank you to them for graciously funding our pilot. They made it possible. So thank you, Siegfried's.
Yes, we are ever so grateful.
Yes, we are. Now back to the program.
I'm Elliott. Today's recommendation is going to be Jack and Jill by Adam Sandler. 2011, quite possibly one of the greatest films of all time. The reviews are on the lower side, but I think critics are kind of stupid. They don't understand the highbrow humor of this film. And that concludes my recommendation.
And we are back. We don't really have much else for today, since this is our first episode, right, Connor? This is just a baseline. If we're trying to figure this out as a consistent thing that's more packed with content, not just. We kind of just did film trade today and called it good, but I think for an introduction to who we are and what we're about, I think that should be good for today, right, Connor?
Yeah, I think that's all we need.
If anyone does listen to this, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did take the time to listen to however long this ran for, but I hope we did a decent job, and I hope we can continue doing this because I really like the idea of this as a longer running thing, which I already said like 3 times. Well, for next time, to our listeners, we'll figure out have more of a variety for you for next time. I hope you enjoyed this as just a little taste of what we have to offer. If you have any inquiries or interested in being on the show or having any part. We'll have some sort of information in the description of this or something. I don't know. I don't want to leave you guys with my email or anything like that. Connor lives at yeah. Well, I thank you for listening. If you took the time to, I would honestly be surprised, but I thank you. And hopefully see you guys next time. This has been ReelShot with Eli Flint and
Connor McCallion.
Have a great night, guys, or morning, or day, or whatever time of day it is, or whatever time it is, or whatever the weather is too, whatever climate, whatever month you're in,
Yeah, whatever hemisphere.
whatever country, whatever
Yeah, if
state.
you're in like Russia, Ukraine.
Maybe you're at the airport. Maybe you're on the bus. Maybe you're on a train. Maybe you're on a plane. Maybe you're in a car, a bar, maybe.
France.
Be somewhere you shouldn't be. ReelShot is brought to you by Siegfried's and is created by Eli Flint, Connor McCallion, music by RJ Guerrero, and special appearance by Elliott. Thanks for tuning in.